For this video, I'm going to show you some of the things we can do with text boxes in Affinity Publisher and Designer. There are some added extras you can do with Designer, but the first couple are quite easy to do with Affinity and might really improve your documents. One of the main reasons I purchased Affinity Publisher was to make high quality documents that are a little bit better looking than, say, something I might achieve in Word. Plus also being able to secure them as flattened PDFs, so my work is protected a little bit more. So what we've got here is three things that we're going to look at. First is text boxes on curves and shapes and things. Second one is text boxes that surround shapes, like a photograph or a painting in this instance, and then text boxes that are a bit more, I guess, complicated, where you might have a circular shape that you want to cut out. So there are three things we can do. So I'm just going to show you the first one at the top. So we're going to look at making a shape text box. So first I'm just going to get the shape tool and just pick out the same one as what I have in the example up top. Just going to draw a curved shape oblong. Then I'm just going to grab the frame text tool and the artistic tool, and I'm going to hover on the edge, and you can see how it changes from an A to a T with a wiggly line. So if I just click on it, all of a sudden we've got a little green little arrow pointer and a red pointer down here. So we're going to show you a little bit about what they do. So I'm just going to type in a few things. So I'll just type in blah. So we've got some lettering there, and I might just copy that a couple of times. Okay, so here we have the green slider, so you can actually make it upside down, all the way around anywhere you like. So that's the starting point of the line, and this one is the end point of the line. Okay, so you can actually make it go inside the shape as well. If you're really clever, you can actually make it so you've got some lettering on the inside and some on the outside. So I'll have some lettering like this, and then I'll move this one around here. It's a little bit tricky to get the hang of. There we go. So I just pressed space a few times and made the little red end line go in like this with a bit of tweaking. You can see just by adjusting these little shapes, you can create a shape with lettering going outside the shape and on the inside the shape. Okay, so that's the first one. It's pretty good, and of course you can get rid of the shape, the tone of the shape, by just before you turn it into a text box. I'll just show you this quickly. Before you turn that shape into a text box, just make sure there's no stroke or fill in it. It's, as far as I know, you can't adjust anything. So shape tool, make your shape, then artistic text tool, just hover on the borders and you'll be able to make your text, and then that's it. You've got your text, and you can also edit the shape. You can change the actual size of it, which is fantastic. Like that's actually one of the best things about it, in my opinion. Okay, so the next one, it's a bit more simple, is I want to make the text like this, so it goes around the picture rather than making two text boxes, which means you'd say if you have a paragraph that you'd like to continue around and under something, you'd have to stop and press stop the text and then create a new text box and kind of remember where you're up to, and it makes it hard to adjust the size and things like that. So it's kind of like wrapping text in Word. So you just make a shape. So I'm just going to make a rectangle or almost a square like this. Now again, like this curvature text, I want to make sure there's no color or tone or anything. Generally, I like to just push it to the back in case I want to move the picture around. If it's at the front, it'll be hard to select the picture. It'll automatically select the text box once you turn it into a text box. So I'll just put it at the back. Now, in order to turn this into a shape, before I convert it to a text box, I want to make it the shape that I would like it to be. So I want it to cut text out like this. So I've gone convert to shape. So I'll just go back. Convert to curves, sorry. So I've selected the box, converted to curves, and you'll see I've got the node tool, which is giving me a chance to modify it however I like. So all I need to do to make the shape is add a couple of nodes. So with the node tool selected, which is the A button, I'm just going to make a couple more nodes. Now, they are defaulting to square right now, which will mean it'll be a nice sharp angle. If it does default to circular like this, you can just change it back to square by hitting the little button up here, the sharp node. And now I've got my text box looking fairly good. So it's still a shape, and now I'm going to turn it into a text box. So you can see if I hit the frame text tool, the T button, you'll see if I hover over the shape, it actually is a little pentagon shape. So now I can actually start to fill it. Now once I've done that, that is now a text box. It's not a curve anymore. So I can put my text in and fill it right out, and you'll see it actually goes to the shape. Now sometimes it adds a bit of too much space. That's because it's a 6-letter word and it will auto kind of correct. I can just adjust the size a little bit to suit that just by going like this and maybe just fitting it in, just tweaking it a little bit so it fits. Of course, I could obviously change this actual size of the font as well. It's up to you, but the main point is that you get a chance to make a text box that fairly seamlessly goes around the picture. Now, for ease of use, I would make that text box at the bottom because I might want to move this photograph around, and if it's underneath the text box, because it is actually a rectangle, it's not that shape, I won't be able to select the picture unless I select it on the hierarchy. Okay, so I would just move that above it so it works a bit better. Okay, so now the last one, you will require Affinity Designer. So that is another purchase that you might not have, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You can do most things with the text box, including, I'll just show you this quickly, including, say you want to make a shape that goes around, say, a circle. You can do it in Publisher by getting your two shapes. Say, I'll just make this so it's got an outline so we can see it, and I'll make this one so it's got an outline. So you can't do it the same way, but you can do it just by converting it to a curve and then adding nodes that would roughly go around it like this. And you can do that in the middle of the shape or anything. So I could do that right in the center, anything like that, to make it like this. But if you do have Designer, it's quite easy to do. So you've got your circle, and I'll grab a rectangle and I'll draw a rectangle. So now I have two shapes, and I'll just add a outline to that so you can see it. So you've got two shapes, a rectangle and an ellipse or a circle, and I want the circle, I want the text to kind of be like in an arch shape. So I'll just click into Designer quickly and basically just go put the ellipse above the rectangle like this, select them both, and then you just hit the subtract button up top here, and that will actually take out the circle. So it'll change the shape of the curve, and now it actually has converted it to a curve. So you'll see I've got nodes, which means I can modify it any way I like. Okay, so now it's still not a text box. So if I click the frame text tool, which is the same as in Publisher, and I can actually go back to Publisher now and just continue on. So I can click on that, and I've got myself a text box with a circle in it. So it is a bit tricky. You'll have to press space and sort of play around a little bit just to get it working correctly, but it does allow a little bit more customization. So you don't need Designer to do this. You can just create your own nodes and create your own shape, but if you're in a hurry and you do have Designer, then you can just grab a circle, grab a rectangle, and make a shape instantly within a few seconds. So that's another thing you can do. So there's 3 things with text boxes that might help and save a bit of time and improve your documents. So I hope this helps. Thanks.